Welcome, one and all, to our celebration of Juneteenth and Opal Lee's pledge to walk until Juneteenth is a national holiday. I hope she can count on you as she walks to gain 100,000 signatures on petitions to take to Washington for the Congress to pass the law and the President to sign it, making Juneteenth a national holiday. And now, let's breathe in and honor our ancestors. We owe them our lives. It was they who persevered through the oppression of slavery.
You may make my grave wherever you will, in a lowly vale or a lofty hill. You may make it among earth's humblest graves, but not in a land where men are slaves. I could not sleep if around my grave I heard the steps of a trembling slave. His shadow above my silent tomb would make it a place of fearful gloom. I could not rest if I heard the tread of a coffle gang to the shambles led, and the mother's shriek of wild despair rise like a curse on the trembling air. I could not rest if I heard the lash drinking her blood at each fearful gash, and I saw her babes torn from her breast like trembling doves from their parent nest. I'd shudder and start if I heard the bay of the bloodhounds seizing their human prey, if I heard the captive plead in vain as they tighten afresh his galling chain, if I saw young girls from their mother's arms bartered and sold for their youthful charms, my eye would flash with a mournful flame, my death-pale cheek grow red with shame. I would sleep, dear friends, where bloated might can rob no man of his dearest right. My rest shall be calm in any grave where none call his brother a slave. I ask no monument proud and high to arrest the gaze of passers-by. All that my spirit yearning craves is bury me not in a land of slaves.
That poem was written by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. And you'll hear people of all ages who are expressing their outrage regarding America's peculiar institution. In 2018, Opal Lee, a Texan, celebrated Juneteenth in Philadelphia. Here's what she had to say about her Juneteenth mission.
I just want to mention a few things to you. That Texas had its own underground railroad. Slaves were leaving Texas as best they could, going to Mexico. And there was an underground railroad that got them there. People who helped them, just like the folk did up in this direction. I am an advocate of Juneteenth not being just a celebration, and I'm finding out that yours is more than that. But if we could get all the celebrations to add a component to educate our people about the things that need to be done. I can't say it loud enough, long enough, and often enough that we've got generations that absolutely don't have the slightest idea what we're talking about when we say Juneteenth. So it's our responsibility, your responsibility, to educate them. I just buttonhole people in the grocery store, any place I can, and say, honey, you know anything about Juneteenth? No. I said, well, let me tell you about it. And I'll stop them there, whether they're in the doctor's office, I don't care where they are. I got to keep telling people about it because we cannot. I refuse to let it die. There's too much at stake. If we're not careful, the climate now is such that we could be enslaved again. Now, you may think that's not true. I'm not talking about any shackles on your feet and your hand. I'm talking about your mind. I'm talking about if you can't think past some Lexuses and some Nikes and some... I don't know how I could express it any better. But I'm just grateful to be here. And just know that there's a national organization that is trying to make Juneteenth a national holiday. 45 states in these United States have it as a state holiday. And there's no reason for it not to be a national holiday. Do you know what I did? September the 1st, 2016, I kept talking about it and talking about it. I put my big foot in the road and started walking to Washington, D.C. I did it from Fort Worth to Grand Prairie to Arlington to Dallas, Rock Springs. My team said it ain't gonna be like that. So then I started walking just to the places that invited me that did Juneteenth celebrations. I do 2.5 miles in the morning and 2.5 miles in the afternoon to symbolize that we weren't free for 2.5 years after everybody else knew that we were supposed to be free. And I got to Washington on the 10th of January, 2017. I'd invited President Obama, and I ain't gonna tell y'all the times how I got in his face, but I've been in it more than once. But he was in Chicago, so I didn't get what I wanted. But I still think, I still know, and I hope to live to see Juneteenth a national holiday, and you can help. It's your state legislators, your senators that you can call or write or have somebody else do it, because there's a bill already in place that simply needs to have a president sign the proclamation. But the bill is there, and it can be ratified or whatever they do to them. You don't have to go through the process again. And you can Google it. You all know what to do with the cotton picking computers. Get on it. And before I'm gone, let's have it a national holiday. Thank you.
All right.
Ashe.
The mother of Juneteenth, Miss Opal Lee.
As you now know, Juneteenth is a holiday in the city of Philadelphia, as well as the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we're hoping that it's going to be a national holiday as well. So welcome back to our city. We're so excited to have you. And many people ask, why should this be a national holiday? It should be a national holiday because it's a time to remember when we ended a very painful time in American history. And it's a time to say we should never go back. And it's a time to say, Mrs. Opal, that people like you have fought all of these years really matter and that you make a huge difference. And so I'm glad to be a friend, I'm glad to be a supporter, and let's go celebrate Juneteenth.
This poem is called The Slave Auction. It was written by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, a black lady poet writing in the 1850s. This was after she had seen an auction. The sale began. Young girls were there, defenseless in their wretchedness, whose stifled sobs and deep despair revealed the anguish of their breast. And women stood with streaming eyes and saw their dearest children sold. Unheeded rose their bitter cries as tyrants bartered them for gold. And men whose sole crime was their hue, the impress of their maker's hand, and small and trembling children too were gathered in that mournful band. And women, with their love and truth, for those in sable forms do dwell, gazed on the lovers of their youth with anguish none may paint nor tell. You who have laid your loves to rest and wept above that lifeless clay, know not the anguish of the breast whose loves are rudely torn away. The sale began.
My great-great-great-grandmother Nelson was the most colorful black woman a plantation has ever touched. Her body was built by blues and violets and violence.
So what are colors when the white man rapes the rainbow?
My great-great-great-grandmother's stomach held a fetus that will lynch itself for knowing it's black, white. My great-great-great-grandmother's vagina held a dick that she would have lynched if she had the power to.
In the sweet juices of South Carolina peaches,
Charleston harbored thousands of external inmates for middle passages.
While the red dirt 5 miles from the coast grew willows where soggy branches hang like weed.
and today done kept the blues from win of a century unforgotten. Attention, this is a high-stakes test. Be sure to use the number 2 pencil.
Test templates and answer sheets be like back houses.
Sheltering the strong-minded in the smallest question of humanity.
We have always been a Scantron's least favorite bubble.
But what is one to feel when your Africa was raped to bleach before you had the chance to clean the whites off her egg?
Hold on.
Turn down for what?
Bubble me white, bubble me black.
Bubble my people are under attack.
Bubble me slave, bubble me master. If I'm free, which one is the answer?
Bubble percent, 99 nuts. Government meeting, which ones do we trust?
Bubble the weak, bubble the power.
36 shots in 36 hours.
Bubble oppressed, bubble enslaved.
Bubble if you don't have a slave master's last name.
Hold on.
Cause nigger ain't got no name.
Well, this ain't got no name, but nigga.
You either in the house or in the field, nigga. Motherless child.
Centuries of picking crops. Now food deserts grow on every hood block.
We might as well pick hot chips from the cracks in the concrete like cotton.
Dear master,
Grandpa Nelson.
how we supposed to bubble black?
When the word black is a baby born by the inconsideration of a white man's body, we were first stamped black when you whited us out. Nigga is the most white-owned name we have ever touched.
My great-great-great-grandmother Nelson was the most colorful black woman a plantation has ever touched.
Race is the most unwanted dick this society's vagina has ever touched.
You have mastered my grandmother's womb into centuries of disowned babies.
Breaking boundaries.
Stories of his own.
Owning company.
And then you rape her back into her place.
And then you rape her black into her place.
And tell us we should be grateful for not knowing who we are.
Like, at least it's land.
At least it's here.
40 acres and a mule?
At least 54 schools burn thousands of futures.
Only 40 of our people can graduate from a class of 2,000?
At least you have rights.
You're pretty.
If you're light.
At least nigga isn't in our vocabulary anymore.
At least it's land.
As if plantation isn't the right way to put it.
What are colors when the white man rapes the rainbow?
What am I if my grandfather is the rapist? What is one to feel if our Africa was raped to bleach before we had the chance to clean the whites off her egg?
Mammy got a nurse for
Hold on.
Mammy gotta pick Mrs. Cotton.
Hold on.
Mammy gotta please her masses.
Hold on.
Mama pocketbook gon' change.
And we would have lynched this history if we had the power to.
What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world, travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without a rival.
You won't find the definition of Juneteenth in many history books that look back on the Civil War. That's something this week's DCW 50 hero would like to see changed. It's so important to 90-year-old Opal Lee, she decided to make a one-woman march to Washington from her home in Texas. Joe Dominguez has her story.
And 45 states have it as a state holiday, and we see no reason why it shouldn't be a national holiday.
Opal Lee is a fiery lobbyist for Juneteenth. The holiday honors the 2.5-year gap between the emancipation of slaves and the day it was recognized, hundreds of miles away in Texas.
For a lot of people, that meant they continued to toil as slaves.
Congressman Mark Vesey helped the 90-year-old in her quest to walk from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C. to raise support for recognizing Juneteenth in new ways.
1st of September, I kept telling family and friends that I was going to do it, and I think they thought I was playing, you know.
Along the way, Lee learned that many college students have lived a life without segregated schools and didn't realize how hard life was in Opal's shoes. As a 10-year-old, Lee nearly lost her life in a house fire started on Juneteenth by an angry mob who didn't like black people living in their neighborhood. As for today's race relations,
it's not the best, but then it's not the worst. So we can improve on it.
For Opal, that means putting her best foot forward, asking communities to educate their kids while celebrating freedom.
We can't forget the things that have happened. We need to address them so they don't happen again.
Under the sea, under the sea.
Waiting in the water are the bones of our sons and daughters.
On high tide, skeletons skate onto shores.
At young, we're taught the rules.
Run when it rains,
cover your head. Black bodies have always known struggle when it comes to
water. And textbooks won't dare to whisper how slave masters ensured that their niggas never learned to swim.
To freedom. Myrtle Beach currents tried to capsize my sister.
In the cemetery disguised as an oceanic playground.
I was the middle passage between ashes and holiness.
An oil spill of our family polluted the water.
I, my sister's keeper, sacrificed my breath to keep her afloat.
He sank to the bottom to raise me.
But something raised me. Palms on the soles of our feet. Ancestral ghosts wouldn't allow the sea to swallow us whole. Again.
After Yemaya, African goddess of water, gave birth to the 14 Orishas, her water breaking caused the great flood that created the ocean. After my own mother's water broke, she named me Morgan. It means of the sea.
Underwater is where she hoped I'd learn to
free. But when my father told me the truth of my conception, that they drowned themselves in liquor on homecoming night, it was then that I realized I was gifted this name so that I'd never have to know what sinking felt like.
In the 5th grade, swim class was a gym requirement. My predominantly white classmates gathered around the edge of the pool. They wanted to watch as I disproved the myth that there is no buoyancy in black boys. I saw the congregation of hazy white ghosts gleam down at me. Felt my skin tighten and twist.
In 1964, a white hotel manager poured acid into a pool in which blacks were staging the St. Augustine swimming.
Wonder how tight their skin got.
History will gossip of black bodies paving ocean floors like drowning family trees.
This is why waves taste like tears. This is why oceans are salted. Black bodies have always known pain when it comes to water.
I press my ear to an abandoned skull. Hear the thoughts of the woman who used to live inside of it.
The struggle of screams.
They tried to tell me it was the sound of the ocean. I was holding a conch.
But they didn't know.
Yemeya's first gift to humans was a seashell in which her voice could always be heard, a reminder that
whether slave ships, fire hoses, levees, tears, black bodies have always known rebirth when it comes to water. At young, we're taught the rules of float or flight.
When it rained, we never ran, we stood. We covered our heads not in fear,
but in prayer.
We have always been the middle passage between ashes and holiness.
One of the graveyard at our feet.
Or our Savior's faith walking on water. No bullets, no fists, no chains, no whips can hurt an ocean. We are children of the sea. Underwater is where we have always learned to.
Up on the shore, they work all day. Out in the sun, they slave away. While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
Now these are some very strong words we're saying here, so it means we need everyone to sing with us. The chorus. I'm going to teach you the chorus. I want you to sing it back to me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Now, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. That's good, but it's weak. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. There's a lot of freedoms being threatened. Think about it. Here we go. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Good. Now Carol and I will sing the verses, and when it's your turn, come in nice and strong. Ready? Whenever you are. Until the killing of black men, black mother sons is as important as the killing of a white man, a white mother son. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. No, no, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. You know, that which touches me most is that I had the chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. To me, young people come first. They have the courage of where we fail. And if I could but shed some light as they carry us through the gale, we who believe, come on, we who cannot rest. Say it like you know it now. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Did you know that African Americans from the 7th Ward were recruited under the leadership of Octavius Cato, John White, Ebenezer Don Carlos, James Fortin, and Mother Bethel Church? And they were enlisted in Camp William Penn and defeated General Lee and the Confederate Army. They were present when General Granger read and enforced General Order No. 3 in Galveston, Texas, which produced Juneteenth on June 19, 1865.
Hello, this is State Representative Sue Helm of the 104th Legislative District of Pennsylvania. Thank you for taking the time to celebrate Juneteenth National Freedom Day. 1 year ago, on June 19, 2019, I experienced my best day ever in the 14 years of being a member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives when Governor Wolf signed into law House Bill 619. This year's celebration is a special one because it is the first year that Juneteenth is an officially recognized holiday in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. For those who may not be familiar, Juneteenth commemorates the June 19, 1865 announcement of the abolition of slavery in the state of Texas, which marked the completion of emancipation throughout the former Confederate States of America. This came nearly 3 full years after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued by President Abraham Lincoln in 1862. When we talk about the abolition of slavery, we are often led to believe that the Emancipation Proclamation was the end-all, be-all of abolition. But to omit Juneteenth from this story is to leave out a crucial part of history. That is why this holiday is so important. It is my hope that Juneteenth, being an officially recognized holiday, will bring more awareness to this incredibly important date in our nation's history. The Juneteenth holiday provides all Americans a sense of togetherness. Slavery of any kind is intolerable. Unfortunately, throughout the history of the world, slavery has been an institution in almost every geographic region. People of all races, colors, and creeds have fought tirelessly to end it, and their efforts should not go unnoticed. The end of slavery in America in 1865 was the beginning of our togetherness, and although it continues to grow slowly throughout history, I have no doubt that this generation of children and future generations will do a better job of watering the plant of freedom. By celebrating Juneteenth National Freedom Day, you are celebrating a holiday just as important as the 4th of July or Memorial Day. For without the end of slavery, the United States of America would not have been possible. I want to thank you all for participating in the celebration of Juneteenth and for doing your part to spread awareness, especially during these incredibly difficult times. Thank you, and may God bless America.
That's right. This is Opal's walk, y'all. Please. 100,000 signatures is what she needs right now. She's doing the walk.
Sign the petition.
Sign the petition. Go to Opal Walk DC. Opal Walk number 2 to DC. Everybody.
I've been watching black bodies blend into the pavement for some time now, but I have not lost hope for a certain happiness. Despite the wreckage, I have not lost my ability to smile. Amidst the warfare, I am still standing here, doing my best to summon my spirit back each time, to realize my black doesn't belong seated in dirt, but deserves the bloom. We are calling for an overwhelming black joy.
To flood Twitter with pictures of our undervalued beauty.
Hashtag Blackout Day with photos of our brilliance.
Hashtag Carefree Black Boy with flowers and our snapbacks. Hashtag Black Girl Magic with our edges laid.
Our blackness being the best trending topic to touch social media. With afros, fades, and cornrows cracked in our crowns.
Deconstructing Eurocentric standards.
Showing that our black don't crack.
Our ancestral blood is the fountain of youth.
We are born beautiful, made of a black woman's hands.
Watch how we shine like a black man's smile.
We are called to celebration.
To fight poverty with the warmth of our skin.
To mount our black folk magic on the mantle. To walk past the mirror and see resilience each time.
There is God in that. And blasting gospel or hip hop throughout the house. To remind ourselves that music has always been our saving grace.
Songs passed down like scripture, like Sunday service never ended.
We are a chorus to hallelujahs.
A sermon that'll make a heathen bend an ear.
We took the church outside. Street corner harmonies sung by retired uncles.
Our grandmothers shaking tambourines to the tune of liberation.
We throw our hands up in relief and rapture.
Tears cascading down our face in triumph.
Because we fall down, but we get up. Our endurance is a trait that we pass down for generations.
We watch black children find themselves.
Even if it's in the game of hide and seek, we find home in each other.
Greet strangers like long lost kin.
Call them sister,
call them brother,
call them hope instead of grief. Call them a family tree we're not afraid to hang around.
Where the seeds bloom into legacy. Rooted in fighting for our right to live.
We are the blueprint of mankind.
A lineage that cannot be broken.
A dynasty that cannot be dismantled. Stripped or taken away from us.
For centuries we've been mourning.
Instead of being able to celebrate the lives we're living, we've been writing of our absence for so long. We've forgotten how to speak of our presence.
We've been searching everywhere for happiness.
For black joy, while it's been inside of us the entire time.
Black joy's looking snatched in self. Black joy's being loud and gay for no reason.
Black joy is giving Black Boy Fly new meaning. Black joy is writing this poem. Black joy is a battle cry.
Black joy is rising against the curse of genocide. Black joy is an uncompromising revolution. Black joy is black women, black men, black wisdom, black queer, black asexual, black transgender, black immigrant, black differently able bodies saying we don't die.
Tell them we don't die. And if we got us, then we gon' be alright.
Congratulations, Opal Lee. Your perseverance brings you ever closer to realizing your goal for Juneteenth. And thank you for watching. If you haven't signed the Opal's petition, please go to www.facebook.com/opalswalk2dc. We look forward to taking you on a virtual tour of Philadelphia's 7th Ward soon. The 7th Ward, the foundation of democracy, the foundation of freedom, the foundation of the African American community in these United States. In this historic place, in these historic times, Juneteenth is officially celebrated as a state legal holiday in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Come on now, we who believe, yes, we who believe in freedom.